Hi guys, and welcome back to our van build series where we're turning this parcel delivery van into a tiny home on wheels. Today I'm going to show you how I built a water tank out of 8-inch PVC. And honestly, the only reason to do that is because they don't make a tank to fit where you want it to go, and that's the case here. I'm putting a tank on the passenger side of the van, which there's only a 6.5-inch wide space in which to fit it. So 2 tanks are being built. One is a freshwater tank. It's 8.8 gallons to go in this van, and that will be our shower water system. And this will be separate from our drinking water system, which are 2 5-gallon containers under the sink. And the other system is going in my friend's van, and it is a gray water tank. It's the same tank, but his sink is on this side of the van, and so it made sense to utilize this area for gray water. So if you're interested in a tank build, please keep on watching. What you're looking at here is a 3/4 inch inside diameter bushing that I installed in the cap, and then I've installed a 3/4 to 1/2 inch reducer inside of that, and that's to knock it down so that it will fit the brass diverter valve that you see here that I'm installing. This valve allows me to use this both to drain the tank as well as to withdraw water through the pump. So this works great for a freshwater tank, but I recommend if you're using this as a gray water tank that you stick with 3/4 inch and don't use this particular diverter valve because it does take a little while to drain. So let me show you guys the situation under the van. On the passenger side, we have this power step that folds down, so that's one thing that we have to work around. And it has a motor on the inside. And the other thing that we have is this steel strap that runs the length of the underside of the van, and that's for my sliding seat. I've got a seat that slides the whole length of the van, and that's sort of the under support for that. So that's obviously unique to my van. But here's the mounting system came up with. Welded a tab onto the strap that is to move a mounting point back because there is a hole that runs through the frame of the van. I didn't want to drill any new holes in the van. So what I did was just created basically a washer here, put a bolt through, and there's a nut welded on the back right here, a blind nut. You could just simply use a nut, you don't have to weld. And I put a hole through it, and then there's this fuel tank strap that bolts between here and here. And this allows me to tighten down the tank. So that's the rear mount. The front mount is a little different, and that's because the hole in the frame was in a different spot. It was up here, but actually it's perfect because there's this heat shield, and it would have been in the way for tightening the nuts. So basically I decided to utilize this forward hole, which there's already clearance up in here for me to tighten it down, so that's great. But in order to accomplish that, I needed to weld on a section of angle to extend this forward. And I mean, this thing, it's not going to go anywhere. So similar idea, welded a nut on here, and then these fuel tank brackets, it can be tightened from up there. So that's the gist of the mounting system. Now, you guys won't have this strap, obviously, so if you wanted to replicate this, you could basically put a couple of plus nuts in the frame right here, and you could achieve a similar thing. Now further under here, we put in a bulkhead fitting. This is back near the rear spring mount, and this will be our fill. So that's 1 inch, and we can, there'll be a 1-inch hose that goes from there into the top of the tank to fill it, and then the drain for the tank is in the bottom, and that's the same place where the pump will withdraw the water. So that's how we have it set up now prior to getting the tank in. Okay, here's the tank before it goes into the van. This is a 1/2 inch NPT connection. Then it just has a male-to-male riser, a female coupler, and then this is the copper air valve. Then this is a 1-inch threaded connection. That is our fill. And then here is the drain. This is a diverter valve. So this will divert water either to the pump or to drain the tank. So I oversized a lot of these connections just in case I had a flow issue. So this is a 1-inch outlet, which I had to knock down to, actually I'm sorry, that's a 3/4 outlet, which I knocked down to a 1/2 to accommodate this diverter valve. So that's the tank before it goes under. Okay, come on up. A little more. 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 And just a tiny bit more. Okay, leave it right there. Actually, come up a little more. Okay, that's good. Right there. Don't do it anymore, okay?
Yeah.
And here's our final installation. Here's the bulkhead coming through from the sliding door step. 1-inch tubing. And then up on top of the tank, there's our hole with a 1-inch barb. And here's the front of the tank. And here's the strap that goes straight up into the feather bracket that is mounted in factory holes in the frame. Now here's my buddy's tank. It's being used as a gray water tank, in this case, mounted in the same location. But because he didn't have the steel to weld to like mine did, he used plus nuts attached to the cross ribs, and he bent a couple pieces of steel to make up the other side of his mounting system. Alright guys, as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.